Hello again. Don't forget to subscribe and to like the videos on the channel and share the word about this channel. Hopefully it will be useful for A-level politics students. One of the things that politics does is it shapes our lives and it shapes our culture, and then that culture is reflected back to us. And there are therefore some really good dramas that encapsulate our politics and the times that we live in. And I want to talk about a few of those in this series. So it's a way of enjoying politics and understanding it in a more enjoyable way by watching TV dramas or streaming dramas or whatever way you want to look at them. And the one I want to focus on today is called Our Friends in the North. This was made by the BBC back in 1996. And I didn't watch it for a long time until afterwards. Back in 1996, I was doing my degree in politics, and I knew it was on and people were talking about it, but I just seemed to miss every episode. In those days, unless there was no catch-up. There was no catch-up TV. There was no internet in quite the same way that we have it now. It was very new, and so you couldn't stream things. And so if you missed them, unless you'd videoed them, recorded them while they were going out, you didn't get to see them. So it was a while before I saw this. It's a really good drama. I think it's one of the best dramas, and it's got some really interesting young people in it. Christopher Eccleston went on to be Doctor Who. Daniel Craig, James Bond is in this. Mark Stone, Hollywood actor, and Gina McKee has been in so many things. And the story starts with them as young friends, late teenagers, and it follows it's quite a unique format, this TV show, because it follows those friends across their lives, basically up until 1995. And so if I can, I'm just looking at at an internet page about this to remind myself of exactly what the episodes were, because each episode, or most of the episodes, are set in a general election year. So here's the important link with politics, and it intertwines with the politics of the day and these characters and how they navigate it. One of the characters begins being a Labour supporter. One of the characters is just not interested in politics whatsoever, but still has to be affected by politics, because politics affects all of us, as we know. So it's quite interesting, and it deals with, as it goes through the episodes. The first one's set in 1964. The next election was in 1966. You knew that, right? Then there's an episode outside of an election year, 1967. 1970 was the next election year. Then there's an episode set in 1974, 79, 84, because they're connecting that to the miners' strike rather than the general election. 1987 was a general election year. And then the final episode is set in 1995. So you follow these characters over 3 decades. And these young actors who are now, all of them, well-renowned, they get to play the same character as they are aging and going through to their midlife. It, like I say, it follows the miners' strike. It follows scandals in the Metropolitan Police. It follows the decline of the post-war consensus. There's a phrase that gets used a lot. I remember when I was doing my A-levels 30 years ago or so, when I was doing my A-levels, I kept hearing the words post-war consensus, and I was never really sure what it was. I kind of had an idea. I'm not sure I really understood what the word consensus meant, but now I'm older and I've understood it a bit more. I like to think of it in terms of that period between the Second World War in 1979, and how there was broad agreement between the two main parties on how the economy should be run. A mixed market economy, some nationalised industries, some privatised industries, a welfare state, the NHS, the state having a role in our lives, which is potentially positive. And all of that has kind of, well, it was all ripped up really by the Thatcher years and changed. And this drama takes you through the post-war consensus years and out the other side. So you see how it changed. You see how the characters changed around it, or the world changed around them and applied to them. And so it's not necessarily about totally real events, but it's about how real people might have dealt with the events that they found themselves in. And it is a really renowned production. You can find it on ITVX Premium. It used to be on the iPlayer, but it's not at the moment. But as far as I'm concerned, I think it's one of the best TV dramas to do with politics that I've seen. And I think the reason for that is the epic scale of it, for one, the fact that it covers a period in British history that is just out of reach, but it handles it in a very realistic fashion with real characters that you can identify with and understand. And the backdrop is real events. The characters are mainly based in the northeast of England, and the story combines with a real life event, which was a scandal in housing. The local council doing dodgy deals, a Labour council doing dodgy deals with scandalous results. That really happened. So some of the characters are based on real characters, and then the four main characters are fictional and are living, fictional lives. But there's lots of things that weave into it that really were going on at the time, and that makes it absolutely fascinating. So I would recommend watching that. It's a really good way of learning what Britain was like not that long ago. I was born in 1976, and my life kind of overlaps the time period that it goes up to. It ends in 1995 because it broadcast in 1996, so you don't get, it cuts off just before the New Labour years beginning with Tony Blair's victory. So it cuts off just before that, but it accurately portrays an awful lot of British society in those years from the 1960s to the 1990s. Worth taking a look at, and it's enjoyable. You're just watching TV and managing to learn stuff surreptitiously, secretively, without proper classroom and all that sort of stuff. It's really good. So I would recommend that. It won a BAFTA. It won maybe more than one BAFTA. BAFTAs for Best Drama Serial, Best Actress, Gina McKee. And on the back, it says it's an unforgettable miniseries. It is. Absolutely fantastic. So that's my recommendation for this weekend. Find Our Friends in the North. Give it a go. It's got a Doctor Who and a James Bond in it. In fact, it's got two Doctor Who's in it because David Bradley's in it as well. David Bradley recreated the role of the first Doctor a few years ago. So there we go. Two Doctor Who's and a James Bond for your money. Not bad. Have a look at that. Enjoy it. And have a nice weekend. Bye-bye.